So who else there today?
The usual crowd is here.
Okay.
Your mom, your grandmother, but your mom's dad is here, grandfather.
Hi, Grant. Hi, Grandpa. Love you.
Carl,
Hi, Carl. I love you so much.
Uncle Roger.
Hi, Uncle.
Oh, these are football players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 football players.
Hi, guys.
5 sweet peas, Griffin,
Hi,
Peggy,
guys.
and I have like 6 people standing to my left.
Okay.
One is Big Hair Chris.
Oh, Chris Gregoire.
Gregoire.
Christopher Gregoire, you guys always amaze me. I didn't know your death day was like a day ago or 2 days ago, and you came in on your own last week and spoke first, and I know that's for your mom, and you guys never cease to amaze me. Like I started crying when I put it all together.
Oh.
Like you've grown. I mean, Chris, no offense. I mean, when I first met you, you were so shy and so stand back. Now you came in and you were the first one to talk, and I'm so proud of you. And the things that you've said to me keep me going, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I love
He
you,
says,
kid.
thank you very much, Miss Marshawn.
Thank you. I love you, kid.
He is so just up, straight up and down, thin.
Right. Right.
Um,
He's a good-looking kid, though. His face is gorgeous.
he's beautiful.
Right.
Griffin says too many words. I just spaced out. Do it again. I know he's angry about something. Aren't we going to talk about it? Aren't we going to talk about, oh man,
What's he angry about?
Women's rights to make choices with their own body?
Oh, that's one of my questions, actually.
He
How
wants
you
to talk
feel
about
about that? Okay, let's do it. How do you feel? How does everyone feel about that?
They look like that cat with the swinging tail that's a clock, and the eyes go back and forth.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
no, it's not going to work well.
Right.
Griffin is fired up and angry. It's interesting. His mannerisms when he gets like this reminds me a lot of Dylan.
Right.
Like how he'll talk like that, his whole chest gets into it. As soon as we start taking control over other people, no matter what it is, say it in a different way, Griffin. We are giving up on our rights. We're giving up on humanity. He says we're going back in time centuries. The whole movement, he says, of this enlightenment is giving everybody the permission to have their own right, their own choices, their own decisions for their own selves. The moment somebody stands up and says, oh, but I've been so good in my life about the decisions I've made, now I'm going to make them for you. He says that's bullshit. That's the very thing that's being torn down right now with our president, which he loves the president for that. He says that's one.
You love the president for what?
That's the one thing that I really appreciate about him. He complimented me because he said I imitated his clap very well. It was just like this kind of dummy soft hand clap.
Right. But are you being sarcastic, Griff, that you don't
No.
like? No. You love him for what, though? Isn't he pro no abortion?
Yeah, he's in my opinion not the greatest leader, but he is the greatest destroyer. He is the I paused, not him. Please know that this does not reflect the opinion of Marshawn or of Jamie. We're just listening to Griff vent his opinions of what he's observing from where he is.
Yeah, I get very scared to talk about President Trump, but go ahead and now you have to explain what you meant about him.
He says that,
Because you gave him a compliment, it
yeah,
sounds like to me. So I want
yeah,
to
he
know
did.
what the fuck he deserves a compliment for, Griff.
He's, Mama, he deserves a lot of compliments.
Yeah.
He is the
This is what I
perfect,
hear. Yeah.
he's the perfect dummy puppet that we need in the public eye to highlight how the majority of the people were feeling and thinking, but not behaving.
Mm-hmm.
We need to praise him for being that way, because now when we zip things up and we put them into places where we're empowering every single person, and we're not doing double standards where we say, oh, but my rules are fair to everyone, so everyone must abide by them, that's bullshit too. If your rule doesn't say, hey, you get a choice, I get one, that person over there gets one, and even if we agree or don't agree with that person's choice, they get to act it out, they get to have it. So he says that we're going to reach a platform very, very quickly that is a double standard. So let's take the abortion laws for right now. Even the pro-choice doesn't say when you get pregnant, you must abort. There's no hard and fast rule. It is if you've had trauma, if you've had this situation, incest, if these things against your feelings, if you want to keep that baby or not, you have the choice. It's a choice. Whereas the abortion laws aren't that way. It says, nope, you have to keep it no matter what.
If
And
we
he gives,
detect a heartbeat, you have to keep it.
yeah, ugh. He said, do you see where the imbalance is?
Yeah.
So my only excitement for this
Okay.
is that not only does it bring it back into the main spotlight, he's saying, he doesn't know a better word, main spotlight, is going to help us in the end be able to take down big pharma, because not only are we going to be fighting for women's rights, the choice to choose for your own health and well-being,
Mm.
we're going to notice the movement will trickle into you have the right to say yes or no to this medication, whereas doctors present themselves as you need to take this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying you need to take that because on the back end, yep, they might believe it's going to help your cause, but on
Mm-hmm.
the back end, they're getting money for it because they're prescribing so much. They're getting, their pockets full.
Oh, it's so corrupt, Griffin. So corrupt.
Is that really what happens? Do they get,
Oh, Jamie, it's so sad. If I even began to tell you, you would wonder. It's like almost like you can know too much as a human being. If I told you the friends I have that work in the medical industry and what they're offered to put screws in someone's back and go in and teach them during surgery, the kickbacks they get, to vacations their family gets, and to use this drug and to promote this Prozac instead of Zoloft. Oh my God. It happens in every field of life. In big pharma, it is hugely corrupt, corrupt, corrupt. I couldn't tell you how corrupt it is. You go down to the restaurant business, it's corrupt. Wine, if you sell this wine, we'll give you, you little hostess, a kickback. Manager will give you a kickback. You follow the money and you find the problem everywhere across the board.
I had no idea like vacations and stuff like that were awful. But anyways,
It's
so
sad.
that's like the
There
same
was a
as
movie about it. I
marketing.
don't think of the name of it right now. Yeah.
Griffin says, we're done with it. We're done with it as a nation.
But Griff, you have to clear up, what are you complimenting him that he's exposing truths even though they're ugly? Like the way
Yes.
that people were secretly feeling racism and all this is all the
Yes.
ghosts that were in the all the skeletons that were in the closet are coming out because of him. Like
Yes.
society was still racist, but we were pretending like it wasn't. And
Correct.
he with his no filter brought that forward.
Yes.
And now he's bringing this forward. What makes me scared, to get off of him for a second, what makes me scared about abortions is, Mom, I love you. I know that people will go down, you know, my mom has witnessed friends going to like Mexico to get abortions. They'll use coat hangers, they'll do anything, and it's very dangerous. And you will get an abortion if you want an abortion. If you want heroin, you will get heroin. If you want drugs, you will get drugs. America has the most deaths, am I saying it right? I have some Southern people don't lift their tongues, sorry. The most deaths and worse healthcare, I think, anywhere in the world. Am I accurate, Griff? Because of big pharma. They don't get paid to cure us. They get they get paid to keep you sick.
Yep.
And it's a
Yep.
sad realization. And it's like almost like I just started before, and I told Dylan, I hate for people that are sensitive like myself or even more sensitive than me. It's almost like go about your life, focus on what you can, because don't watch the news, don't know all this stuff, pick something you can change. Because if you really knew how the world operated, you would get mentally ill. It would make you sick. It's sad. I don't mean to depress everybody, but it's really, really sad. And it all comes down to the almighty dollar. Yeah. And I'm sad to say that. I want everybody to be happy and live your best life. And, but you have to a little bit gate your mind, because unless you're really, really strong and can deal with it, but you can know too much. Like all the stuff my mom said to me, I used to think she was crazy. She said Big Brother's watching, all this stuff. She was right about everything she told me. And, I showed, this is coming from left field, but it's still the same thing about being protected. Like, people go out to suburbs to raise their children for a good life, to protect from life. I remember years ago showing a police beating someone to a group of kids that were with Dylan. And the little girl goes, police hit people? And I was like, oh boy, we are living in a little bubble. You know what I mean? And maybe that's a gift and maybe that's a curse. I'm not sure. But I know that when I start thinking about the way the world's worked out, I think, why am I here? I get so frustrated because it's a little overwhelming for sensitive people. Because I honestly think, because when Griffin died, I thought I could make heroin go away. Then I watched The Wire, the season The Wire, all 5 episodes. I watched it like 5 times in a row. Jamie, my brother wanted me to watch it because I thought, I'm going to beat heroin. I'm taking heroin out. And that's not happening to anyone else. And when I watched The Wire, I realized how innocent I was and naive I was. The judges get the money. The politicians get the money. They don't look to where the money's coming from. They just turn their head and the money gets dropped off in a limo. And if the cop tries to be good, if a cop tries to be good and isn't a good old boy with the rest of the people, now there are some good cops, but when they try to really make a difference, they get sent to the mailroom or like on ships out at sea or like mindless jobs where they can't make a difference if they buck against the system. And guns are dropped into neighborhoods in Chicago. I don't mean to upset you, Jamie. Guns are dropped into neighborhoods to keep them down. Have you seen Chicago? It's sad. There's 4-year-olds with guns, 6-year-olds with guns. It's a war zone. Google it. You can't go down certain neighborhoods. It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. And my mom told me that drugs are dropped in certain neighborhoods. That's absolutely true. That was in The Wire. It shows it. It's to keep it down. It's the have and the have-nots. That's the fight.
That breaks my heart.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but honestly, all drugs should be legal because it would have made Griff less curious. And there was places in other countries where you can go use in front of people so you don't die, if that's what your thing is, But they've noticed that people don't want to use as much. It just takes the intrigue out of it. And It's all a game with the government. It's all comes down to money, Jamie. You guys, they know. They see it.
So that's why Griffin's so happy about the president that we have, because all the truth is coming out, all
Right.
the
I don't
stupidity.
I know my
Sorry.
Griffin. I know my Griffin. I know he does not like President Trump. I think what he's saying, Griffin, I can't tell Griffin how you feel, but I know you're my son. I think that you're just happy he isn't a quiet puppet. And we've had a lot of quiet
Yeah.
puppets. Like he's just blurting it out with no filter, even though he says some wrong things. Maybe some of it's for the best that it needed to come out. He lifted the rug and is showing us what's underneath. It's not that you love the man, right?
No, he says, I would have picked a different president. He says, I
Right.
am now voting for humanity's rights, not
Okay.
for government rights.
But if you're trying to put a positive spin, the things that he's blurted out needed to come out.
Oh, yeah. He says, oh, yeah.
They've been hidden way too long.
Yes.
Oh, Jamie, there was a young girl, because they're fighting against Trump. So some of these young girls are trying to get in. I can't think of her name right now, but she was questioning a man. I think it was, I'm just going to use Big Pharma. It wasn't Big Pharma, but how she got paid $15 an hour, but he's the CEO, he got $5 billion a year. Sir, how do you expect a single mom to live on $15 an hour? I don't know. I'll have to give that some thought. How do you expect a single mom to live on 15 hours and no health insurance because you cut her hours so she can't be full time because you don't want to pay for her benefits? But yet you're making $5 billion a year and she's making $15 an hour. I don't know. I'll have to give that some thought. Like they're starting to ask some real questions that I've never seen asked before. And it looks like they're asking, Griffin's gonna laugh. It's like cool kids that are cool that have smart minds are asking these guys that look like stiff white men. Like it looks like the parliament. It looks like the English parliament, so stiff. And real people are getting to talk now and ask real questions. You know,
Excellent.
yeah, now that is great. That is awesome, right?
Griffin says, by and large, we can expect a huge fight. And a lot of this is being pushed not just to try to overturn Roe versus Wade, but to be a distraction for what they're really doing in the Oval Office. So he says, please keep your eyes on both fights happening in the same ring, right? And put your efforts equally into both, because as soon as you avert your eyes, he goes, that's when the magic trick fucking happens. So
Is there always a diversion going on in life, Griff, in the news? Like when we're trying to talk about the families that have been destroyed by football and how football doesn't give a rat's ass about you when you're done. No health care, no nothing. You have to beg for it. It's terrible.
no health care?
No, you have to buy your own. Yeah. And mentally, these guys aren't equipped to handle a job. So a lot of them, so if they didn't do savings, they're in big trouble, spinning or begging the NFL for help or yeah, it's terrible.
That doesn't make sense to me.
You go on Cobra for a little while after, which you pay high price for, which is in every company, and then you get done. You're on your own, kid.
God, why aren't we taking care of each other? What the is wrong with
Right?
everybody?
I know.
That's a very
Because
general statement. I know. I'm just
Jamie, it's a chase
constantly
for
shocked.
money. It's a chase for money. Why isn't Tom Brady donating? Maybe he is, but why isn't he donating some of his millions to the players that came before him that the NFL won't give money, or saying, I won't play unless you take care of these old men that got no care and were making $35 a week? They could, but they don't. There's the platform you need. Like, take care of the people before me. They can't walk, they're mentally ill, they have cancer, they're on the street. Maybe one guy's living in his parents' front yard. We don't have any mental illness care or mental injury care, really.
Mm-mm.
You know, that's another subject that needs to come wide open, wide open. Mental illness needs to be as big and as common as the cold. I'm having mental issues today. I won't be into work. It needs to be that common.
That's nice. Did you watch Sanjay Gupta's Chasing Life? His first episode
No.
talks about that big time of how mental illness truly needs to be recognized just as equally as physical illness or physical injury, and
Yeah.
that we need to learn how to take those days for ourselves and help. It was a really,
Hmm.
really great episode. Um,
I got to watch that.
Griffin said that even the football um, corporation, what do we call them? Incorporated.
Assholes.
Um, they are even putting money towards marketing on material that is unrelated to football so that other traumas stay in the media and stay away from them.
Right. Oh, they're not dumb. They're huge business like big tobacco. It would be, to me, it would be big pharma, big tobacco, and NFL in that order. And then
Really?
religion. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. As far
And
as
then the
take.
and Griffin says in the independent mind thinks that they're sitting down and choosing what they like and what they're exposed to, but they're not. Big money
Huh.
is paying for them
Right.
to have that thought, to have that attraction, to have that addiction.
Right.
Wow.
Jamie, it's gotten so bad that on my phone, anything I talk about starts advertising. Anything. I was talking about Dylan doing meal prep for me, and then all these meal prep ads started coming down my Instagram. Like it kind of creeped me out. The other day, I got home from a walk, and I was saying to Jesse, I said, I think I need a new pair of shoes or insole. My knee's kind of talking to me. Look down. It says, it has a picture of an insole. Feel 10 years younger with this insole. I was like, about to throw my phone. Like, who's listening to me? I don't get paranoid, thank God, because I know I'm not that important. But if you're really sensitive, you'd like be scared. Like it's creepy. Yeah, I know. They're listening.
I can't I can't
I don't know
even
who's
wrap
listening.
my head.
I know.
I don't want to wrap my head around it. This time I
No.
want ignorance is bliss. And I know
Yeah,
that's maybe not the energy that we need going towards this right now.
right.
Griffin said he wants his big wish, though nobody's asking him, he's sharing. His big wish is that women finally recognize how big and how powerful and how strong they are,
Hmm.
and that they stand up, not only demand equal pay, equal rights, even though they say impossible because their bodies are made differently, so there's no equal about it. But
Hmm.
what about equity that we can do?
Hmm.
And he says, and if that's the case, then women would most likely make more because they're the ones who have to take the time off to give the birth, to keep up humanity, to take care of so many others.
I agree. And Griffin, I've noticed lately since they let the men come in the delivery room now, which wasn't done when I was born. The men got to stay out or whatever. But I saw this man react to his wife giving birth, and he captured the essence of it totally. Like he's like, "What you women? Oh, it was only the prince. uh, yeah, Harry. Is it Harry? Yeah, right.
He was in the delivery room.
Yeah. So he said, I guess so. So he said, "What you women do is incredible." And I believe it. I believe if women were in charge of life, we wouldn't be in the messes we were in. I'm sorry to say that to the men because I've met a lot of bright men, but mama bears just know how to handle it. When you see a woman give birth, you realize the power of a woman,
Hmm. And Griffin just says,
right?